You just spent 2 hours on your phone. You weren't even enjoying it. You know you weren't enjoying it. You knew it around the 40-minute mark, but you kept going anyway. And now you're sitting here feeling worse than before you started. Not tired, not bored, something emptier than that. Like someone quietly reached into your chest and took something without telling you what it was. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're not addicted, your brain just got robbed. And the thief was so good at its job that you handed everything over with a smile. Here's exactly what was taken and how to get it back. Here's what nobody tells you about dopamine. Everyone talks about dopamine like it's a reward. Like your brain releases it when something good happens and that's why you feel good. That's not quite right. Dopamine is not a reward chemical. It's a motivation chemical. It doesn't make you feel good about what you just got. It makes you want to go get the next thing. So when you're scrolling and your brain is pumping dopamine, it's not because you're enjoying the content. It's because your brain is being told, keep going. The next thing might be better. And the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Dopamine is the fuel that keeps you moving forward. But here's the problem. On a normal day, your brain releases dopamine in small controlled amounts tied to real activities. Exercise, finishing a task, having a good conversation, things that actually build something. When you scroll, your brain gets flooded with dopamine signals all at once, far more than it was designed to handle in one sitting. And just like any system that gets overloaded, it shuts down to protect itself. That shutdown is the emptiness you feel, but dopamine overload is only part of what's being stolen. Here's what else scrolling takes from you that nobody talks about. Attention residue. Every piece of content you consume leaves a tiny trace in your working memory. A clip you found funny, a comment that annoyed you, a video that made you feel bad about your life without fully explaining why. These traces stack up. By the time you put your phone down, your working memory, the mental space you use to think clearly, to be creative, to have real thoughts, is completely cluttered with other people's content. You sit down to do something meaningful and you feel foggy, distracted, unable to start, not because you're lazy, because your mental RAM is full of noise that isn't yours. This is why you can scroll for 2 hours and feel less rested than before you started. You didn't rest, you consumed. And consuming at that speed is exhausting in a way sleep cannot fix. There's a third thing being taken, and this one is the most damaging. Every time you scroll, you are involuntarily comparing your real life to a highlight reel of other people's best moments. You're sitting in your room in yesterday's clothes. The feed shows someone's vacation, someone's body, someone's relationship, someone's success, someone's apartment. Your brain doesn't register these as carefully curated performances. It registers them as reality, as evidence of what normal looks like, as proof that everyone else has figured something out that you haven't. Psychologists call this social comparison theory, and it's been making humans miserable since long before phones existed. But social media turned the volume up to a level our brains were never built to handle. 2 hours of that, and of course you feel empty. You've spent 2 hours being reminded of everything you don't have. Now, here's where it gets really uncomfortable. You probably already knew most of what I just told you. You knew scrolling made you feel bad. You've known for a while, maybe years, and you still did it for 2 hours today. This is the part that makes people feel genuinely broken. If I know something is making me feel terrible, why do I keep doing it? Because knowledge does not override biology. Your dopamine system does not care what you know. It does not respond to awareness, it responds to patterns. And you have spent months or years training your brain that when you feel bored, anxious, lonely, or tired, the phone is the answer. That pattern is now automatic. It runs before your conscious mind even gets a vote. You're not weak for doing something automatic, you're just running a very old program. So how do you actually refill what scrolling drains? 3 things, and none of them are what productivity influencers will tell you. First, do one thing that produces instead of consumes. It doesn't have to be impressive. Write 3 sentences, draw something badly, cook something simple, make anything. The act of creating something, anything, tells your dopamine system that effort leads to reward. It starts rebalancing immediately. Even 5 minutes of making something counteracts 20 minutes of consuming. Second, expose yourself to slow stimulation. Go outside without your phone. Sit somewhere and look at one thing for 2 minutes. Not because it's relaxing, because your brain needs to remember what it feels like to process one thing at a time instead of 40 things per minute. This physically lowers your dopamine baseline back to a normal level. Third, do not immediately replace scrolling with another screen. The emptiness you feel after scrolling is your brain asking for something real. Giving it another screen is like answering hunger with more salt. It intensifies the craving without solving it. The emptiness is not a punishment. It's a signal. And now you know what it's asking for. Here's the thing. Nobody says at the end of videos like this, the fact that you feel empty after scrolling is actually a good sign. It means your brain still knows the difference between real and fake satisfaction. It means your reward system is still working correctly enough to tell you that what you just fed it wasn't real food. Some people scroll for years and stop feeling anything at all. You're not there. You still feel the emptiness, which means you're still close enough to the surface to come back up. That feeling you hate, that's your brain trying to protect you. Listen to it. Your brain is not broken. It's just been running in an environment it was never designed for. Now you know what the emptiness is, and knowing is the first step to actually fixing it. If this helped, subscribe. We explain one psychology concept every week. No fluff, stick figures, small words. See you in the next one.